Labor rights, the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party. Labor rights across the arena.
And your Holness is a beacon, shining a bright light. Oh, Holness is a swift wind, changing directions. Andrew is a river, washing corruption. Oh, he has a vision, and we see it clearly. If anybody asks you who he is, just stand up tall, look up in the face and say, come on. And you star up in the sky, Holness beacon shining bright. Give us light in our darkest night. He's that great bit of hope when our backs against the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome officially to the platform on this, the 75th anniversary of the Jamaica Labour Party, leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Michael Holness.
Equal rights and justice is our everlasting song. Unity and progress will make our nation strong. Stand up for your rights when you hear the bell. Stand up for justice, hear the freedom bell. Remember Bustamante, he served you well. Stand up, Jamaicans, when you hear the bell.
And labor rights in our own rights, not just as the wife of our leader, the member of parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, Juliet Holness.
I pray, I honor your name, deliver your mercy. Whenever I fall, you lift me up. Glory to thee. First, let me thank God Almighty for sparing us so we can see another conference. God is good all the time. Our God is merciful and loving. And he has a plan for us, not to harm us, but a plan for our prosperity. He's guarding Jamaica from all the threats and the perils and the evils. And that is why Jamaica is still standing. Not just standing, not just surviving, but for the first time in a long time, you can see that Jamaica is thriving. I therefore greet conference in the name of the Most High. Showers of blessings and prosperity on you and your household and on the nation, Jamaica. Chairman of this conference, the Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, thank you for the conduct of this meeting. I want to acknowledge former leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, former Prime Minister, distinguished statesman, framer of our Constitution, institution builder, none other than the Most Honorable Edward Philip George Siaga and Mrs. Siaga. I want to also acknowledge former party leader, former Prime Minister, statesman, and political reformer and thinker, Bruce Golding. You did not hear from the chairman of the party this afternoon. We are a family, and we put the interest of the party and the interest of the country first. I want to give a special acknowledgement to the chairman of the party, Robert Montague. I also want to acknowledge our Deputy Chairman, Dr. Andre Franklin, our General Secretary, Horace Chang, our Deputy Leaders, the executive officers of the party and other party officials, MPs, MP caretakers, councillors, councillor caretakers, ministers and senators, all the people who work in an official capacity for the party, who are on the platform or off the platform, I want to acknowledge you and thank you for the work during the year. I want to acknowledge our guests from the regions. And you will note that for the last two conferences, we have made special effort to invite our sister parties here to participate in what we are doing. It is good to have friends all around. It is important to bring together people of like mind to participate and share in our successes. It is important that we reach out to the rest of the Caribbean region. It is good for Jamaica and it is good for our friends. So I want to acknowledge the Honorable Sean Richards, Deputy Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis from the People's Action Movement, Senator the Honorable Simon Mitchell from the NNP in Grenada, and Mr. Kent Vital, leader of the Dominica Freedom Party. Let me also acknowledge Friends of Jamaica, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps. Thanks for coming out. I want to specially greet you, the hard-working workers of the Jamaica Labour Party. I want to greet you, the committed and loyal supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party. Rain or shine, good times or bad times, you get on the bus, you put on your shirt, you face the public for us as our ambassadors all over Jamaica. You keep the party flag high. You defend us in the bars, in the markets, at your workplace. You pray for us and you pray over the party. You make the Jamaica Labour Party stronger.
Gracias, Jesús.
Presently, we are being streamed live all over the world, people watching us on the JamaicaLabourParty.com and on my own Facebook page. We're being carried live on TV and on radio. Hundreds of thousands of people are listening to us all over the world. That's the beauty of the Jamaica Labour Party. We are not a closed institution. We are not a private social club. The Jamaica Labour Party does not represent an elite group. The Jamaica Labour Party, as said by our longest serving leader, is the party for the man on the street. The Jamaica Labour Party is not a cult of personality. It is not a fan club of fanatics. The Labour Party is a national political organization giving representation to all sectors and interests of this country. This is the 75th year of the founding of our great party. It was the vision and leadership of our founding father, the Right Excellent Sir Alexander Bustamante. As we gather here today, we honor his memory by symbolically ringing the bell. Pass me the bell. Bustamante would be truly proud. He could safely say that his vision, though a work in progress, is being fulfilled. Let us ring the bell to wake up Jamaica from its slumber. Let us ring the bell to signal that break time done. Now is time to return the nation to order. Now is time to return the nation to prosperity. Labor rights, Jamaicans, ring the bell proudly to signal a new day in Jamaica. In marking the 75th year, the party will be issuing 5 national scholarships. And we will name them in honor of our leaders. These will be in areas that the government, the party considers to be of national importance. They will be full scholarships. You will hear more details from the Secretariat in the coming weeks. The party has also taken the decision to issue 2 bursaries per constituency that will help to fund the children of workers of the party who are entering tertiary institutions. As we celebrate our 75th year, we have to pay more attention to the people who actually carry the symbol of the party, who carry the work and burden of the party, who go to the polling station, who do the enumeration and the canvassing. We have to ensure that their children are prospering as well. And I take it very seriously that I will provide myself 10 bursaries in addition to the 2 per constituency. And I leave it a challenge for the other well-thinking leaders of the Jamaica Labour Party in all spheres to step up and let us all contribute to ensuring that the children of our workers are experiencing the prosperity as well.
I have a success story, yeah, success, a success story.
Your government is midway through the term. And by all accounts, whether it is a preliminary scan of the newspapers, whether it is reviewing the World Bank website, as Sean said, whether it is the polls, PNP polls or JLP polls, or independent polls, the Jamaica Labour Party is doing well. One person commented that it is quite unusual for a government to be doing well in midterm. All indicators are pointing in the right direction. And speakers before have enumerated and listed them. Quickly, I will just mention a few because not that I'm bragging or anything, but it gives a little context to the presentation. Inflation, lowest. Exchange rate, stabilized. National reserves, highest in decades. Unemployment, lowest in decades. Highest number of people employed in the history of Jamaica. Almost 80,000 jobs created so far. You remember Manayard promised that we're going to create 150,000 new jobs. We are almost there. And you see this man? Many of the jobs are in the sector that this man here, Ed, is responsible for. Access to credit, which is an important indicator of whether or not businesses will be emerging in your society and growing, is improving. Government revenues continue to perform at or above target. The government will be building more houses than ever before. I give you my own personal story. I don't tell it too often. But I was born in Spanish Town. I grew up at 56 Cumberland Road in a small board house. The board house not there anymore. My mother worked with the government and was the beneficiary of an NHT house. We moved into the house and I grew up in a place called Ensom City. Small 2-bedroom house. And I saw my mother struggle to add on a kitchen to the back and a room on top so that I could have my own room. Just as she was doing that, Hurricane Gilbert come and blow down the construction. And so we had to start again. And I saw the struggle of my mother. And I appreciated what it means to build. There are people in Jamaica who don't have that kind of experience, who don't know what it is to take one block, lift it up and put it on another block, and put another block on top of that until you have a room, and then you left out the steel and go again.
No frightened figures for me. Your one shoes alone, I'm a bill.
So when you see my passion for ensuring that people have a house to live in and not shack or little tattoo, real solid house that can withstand the emerging threats now of climate change, unpredictable weather. This is a genuine and real passion to build more houses for Jamaican people. I want the academicians and the intellectuals to forgive me just for a minute for the statement I am about to make. There are many explanations as to why Jamaica faces many of the problems it currently faces, including squatting. And you can be philosophical all you want about the history of Jamaica and the historical context created by slavery and dispossession. But talk all you want. The only thing that is going to help the people of Jamaica get planned, structured, orderly housing development in which they can secure value is if the government of Jamaica provides the environment in which people can get access to credit and build their own homes. The squatting problem is not just a matter that people don't have access to land. The squatting problem is that the housing market is not working fast enough to build affordable housing solutions for the people to purchase on a fair and just basis fast enough. We have had the NHT for 40 years. In that period of time, we have not used it as efficiently as we should. Already this year, your government has built over 6,000 housing starts using the NHT. That is more than the NHT has built in the last 5 years added together. I make it a point of duty to go to every single groundbreaking and handing over. We are on track by the end of this term to build 22,000 housing solutions. On track, plans laid, it will be done. And we are working on another plan that should give us an additional 13,000 units. And you will hear more about that plan as we refine it. Building housing for the Jamaican people is my passion. And when we are through, we are going to build houses so that every single Jamaican don't have to think, let me go squat on some other land. We are going to change the thought process to say, you know what? The NHT and the housing market is producing enough houses. Let me make my contribution as small as it is. So whether you are a janitor, a groundsman, a gardener, a helper, you too must have it in your mind that one day, not far away, not a dream, not an illusion, but one day you can own your own home with a title that you can pass on for generations to come. That is how you break the cycle of poverty in the land. In this regard, at this time, I want to just make a small little announcement. As I travel the island, I see so many old and indigent people who they don't have a chance of owning a home through the housing market. And many of them can't through NHT. Their housing condition is terrible. The government has something called social housing, and we go through and we help where we can. But I am now designing a program which you will hear more about in the next budget debates, which is only a couple months away, where we will be spending $500 million on building homes, affordable, reasonable housing solutions for the poor and indigent right across Jamaica. This will be part of the HOPE program. And I want you to just focus a little bit on the HOPE program: housing, opportunities, production, employment. Jamaica is short of skilled, trained builders. We are going to take in young men and women in the HOPE program. We're going to put them through a process of training through HEART and other training institutions, and we're going to use them in an apprenticeship modality to construct those homes for the poor and indigent. So we're not only going to build the homes for the indigent, but we are going to ensure that we have our young people do it in an apprenticeship national service modality. They help to do something good for the nation, but they also come away with a skill. You all know that crime is down. We have done quite a bit of work. We have worked very hard. And at this juncture, I want to thank the police. I want to focus on the police specifically. Much maligned. A lot of bad things have been said about our police force. But there are good men and women in the police force. There are more good policemen and women than the bad ones. But like everything else, if you allow the bad ones to have their way, they spoil the whole bunch. The government's reform program is well underway. And the reform is not just for the public. The reform is for the policemen and women themselves. They must have a sense of pride when they put on that uniform, that you, the citizens, see them as protectors and not abusers, that you, the citizens, have trust in them. That is half of the problem of crime. If we are able to restore trust, dignity, and honor in our police force with regards to how our citizens see them. And it is happening. We see the tide changing, where more and more communities are asking, please send the security forces. That wasn't the case a decade or so ago. Now it is happening, and we are going to continue with the reform to ensure that we restore our police force to the pride of place in the minds of the Jamaican citizen. I have been watching the wage negotiations with the police, and I'm very concerned. I want our policemen and women to know that I'm sympathetic, that we have your interest at heart. We're doing the best we can, and I have asked the Minister of Finance to increase his efforts to bring this matter to a close. We want our policemen and women to be happy in service to their country. We are very careful with our economic program. We are doing very well. And we have to be careful that we don't do stupid things. As our friend from St. Kitts says, it just takes one silly action to kick over the bucket. So with our new thrust of fiscal discipline, we ask that all stakeholders bear that in mind when we come to negotiate for more from the government. There is no secret fund stashed away somewhere that the government can dip into. Our new thrust of fiscal discipline ensures that we set out clearly the maximum that the government can do upfront to the people. So I ask that that consideration be borne in mind. It is a sacrifice that both sides have to make. I guarantee you that as crime comes down, our growth will go up. Our tax take will increase. No more taxes, but the number of people paying taxes will increase. And that means we will have a broader fund, a wider fund, a deeper fund. We will have more resources that we can sit with you at the bargaining table with mutual respect to divvy it up, to share it up, to give you a better portion. But it starts with us understanding that we, the government, respect the police, we respect the claim, but we place what we can do. Work with us. We can make Jamaica a better place together. So while we are gathered here, I'm not overly celebrating. It's time that if you do well, it must acknowledge, we acknowledge it. But I'm not celebrating. Whole heap of things left to be done in this country. And we have a long road ahead of us. So labor rights, you the people who make this possible. As you go out into the field, spread the good news, but don't gloat. Make sure that people understand what is happening, but don't brag. Get people on side, on board. Explain to them what the government is doing. You will see quite a bit of infrastructure being built all around the country. As one man said, Dr. Clark called it carpet. And I want to, at this time, acknowledge to the people of Jamaica that the infrastructure work is not without challenges. Not without challenges. We understand the disruptions in time and schedule. We understand that some persons have seen a fall off in business. By and large, however, most people have expressed understanding. And I want to say how appreciative I am to the people of Jamaica for understanding the greater picture and the greater strategy of improving our infrastructure, which will make our economy grow and things much better. Having said that, that is not an excuse for inefficiency. That is not an excuse for tardiness. We have seen circumstances that could have been improved. When it has been brought to my attention, we have acted and we have made improvements. We welcome your suggestions and we will continue to act on them to improve the dislocation that is happening as a result of the road work. Very soon, I will be opening the new road which will take off some of the traffic from Spanish Town Road. In another couple of weeks, we will do that, and that will significantly ease the travel burden of commuters coming into Kingston. But we're not done yet. You see Constant Spring Road, you see Mandela, you see 3 Miles and Agley Park, you see Barbican, you see Ferris to Macfield, you have South Coast Road improvement coming, you have the extension of the East-West, you name it, it's happening, but more is to come. Look out. Look out for the bypass of Anato Bay. Look out for the bypass of Spur Tree. Look out for the bypass of Hope Bay. Look out for the bypass of Lucy. And look at the development of a new road to bypass Long Hill, which will take you from Mobay to Ferris in the west. All of that infrastructure will make it easier for you to traverse Jamaica. All of a sudden, Jamaica is now connected. Very important. Growth comes when you have connectivity, a network of roads, telecommunication that is working seamlessly, and that is what the government is building. These bypasses and improving the roads will not kill small towns. That's not the objective. Many of the small towns that we have, they can't grow any further because of congestion and chaos. This will now give us an opportunity, along with the bypass program, to have a specific program for rural development which will focus on improving rural townships and the government and management of rural townships. And when them things say we're done, we just a come. Because after we finish 3 Miles Hagley Park, halfway 3 Hope Road, look out, here we come again with infrastructure improvement. And all of those are now being worked on in various stages of planning and development. Water, we don't forget that. Major problem. We're matching it now with some strategic interests. There is still great potential for tourism development in the northwestern side of the island. Negril specifically coming down to Lucy. But you need to put in the infrastructure. We talk about the bypass, but you also need to have the water. And so we are going to be doing the Negril water supply. And that will unleash the tourism and business value in that area and will serve the wider area and residents to provide them with that very important life-sustaining liquid water. You hear them talk about jobs. This is, after all, the Labour Party. We were formed to protect the interests of the workers. Fair pay, better working conditions. But the Labour Party recognizes that in order to do that, jobs don't drop from the sky. Jobs are created when there is an environment that is stable for people to invest. And that is what we have been doing. All of what we are doing. The ultimate interest is for the working class. The poor, the dispossessed, and the unemployed. The ultimate interest. We put forward a new way of viewing things. We call it prosperity. What is it that we mean by that? Prosperity is not the absence of poverty, but it is the presence of hope that you can come out of poverty. It is the structure of actions that you can have faith in, that step by step, drop by drop, cup by cup, teaspoon by teaspoon, we will fill the bucket of you and your household with the blessings of God that have been destined for Jamaica. We were never destined to be a poor country. God has blessed us. We must now embrace our blessings and our destiny. So little by little, inch by inch, we are moving in the right direction. The Labour Party remains committed to ending poverty. Poverty is not simply a notion. Poverty is a real thing. Yes, it's a mental state, but it is also a physical state. The Labour Party's plan to address poverty, yes, social welfare, very important. Creating a social safety net in what we have been doing with PATH and expanding the payments on PATH through conditional cash transfers, that is good. But the greatest antidote to poverty is employment. Employment. Employment means independence in your hands. And the Jamaica Labour Party has created, since we have been in office, almost 80,000 jobs. And we continue to do that. I want to just bring to you very quickly the port expanding. We have moved from 1.3 TEUs, that's the unit, the measure of containers that come in the island, to 2 million containers we're moving now. What that mean? More jobs. More jobs. The Port Authority is about to build a 175,000 square foot logistics facility. What that mean? More jobs. More jobs. We are now in the process of putting in pier facilities in Port Royal. It's almost on its way there. It's a floating dock. To bring in cruise ships. What that mean? More jobs. More jobs. Right now, the BPO sector is expanding. And we have reached a critical limit where we don't have enough trained people ready to take up the positions. So we are ramping up the training to ensure that we don't reach a block on the growth of the BPO sector. More jobs, more jobs. So Mr. Seaga, as you said in your clip, the Labour Party is about the man in the street. And we are fulfilling the ultimate ambitions of the man in the street, the average Jamaican, to be employed, earn his own money, and to be independent and fulfill himself as a person. the Jamaica Labour Party in its 75th year can stand tall and say, we are doing what we have been missioned to do. What next to come? We now have to have a renewed focus on our human capital development. We have to look at education. A decade has passed since education transformation. And I'm going to direct the Minister of Education that he must now put together a team, a national team, to start a review of the successes or lack thereof in some of the reforms that were undertaken 10 years ago, and rechart a course for the development of our education sector so that we can have enough trained people to meet the jobs that are being created. Right now, we are creating jobs faster than we have trained people in the labor pool to fill. It's a good problem to have, but it is not a problem that we want to last anytime. This is a matter of national urgency and priority. So many things to talk about labor rights, Jamaicans listening. But this government has decided to take bold steps on ensuring that we protect our environment. You would have heard all we have done with preserving the cockpit country and the ban on plastics. I know the ban on plastics will have some inconvenience. It will start early next year. But I'm asking you, the people who wear the color green, not just to be green in show, but to be truly the Green Party of Jamaica and consider the environment as a priority. I ask you, those of you who wear the green and those of you who don't, to consider how your consumption actions can affect the environment. So you see, Minister Hutchinson show you options. You can use bamboo cup instead of plastic cup. And this, of course, creates new economic opportunities. But you will all agree with me that our cities should be cleaner than they are, that our communities should be cleaner than they are. And so, myself and the Minister of Finance and the head of the NSWMA, we have sat down and we have devised a program that will place 100 new trucks, garbage trucks, to the NSWMA that will be dispersed right across Jamaica to ensure that we can keep our surroundings clean. Prosperity is not just having money in your pocket so that you can buy more soft drink and then you throw the bottle on the road. No. Prosperity is when your environment is such that you feel at peace. And so the Labour Party is looking at not just a unidimensional prosperity, but a multidimensional prosperity, taking into consideration your education, your health, your built environment, and the security of your home and family. The Labour Party is focused on you. And I want you to appreciate that the ultimate goal is to secure the economic independence of the country. Jamaicans, we have sacrificed hard to bring our national debt from 141% of GDP. We are now under 100% of GDP. Major achievement. I am raising it on the political platform, but it is not a political point. It is a national sacrifice that has been made. We are now the government. We are the stewards. We are the custodians of the authority to ensure that we bring down the national debt to the target set, which is 60% of GDP. And we are going to work very hard to ensure that we bring the national debt down to 60% of GDP. When we get to that point, we will be able to spend more, but we will not make the mistakes of the past. We will not willy-nilly spend. We will not allow corruption to eat out our money. We will not allow short-sighted policies to lead us down the wrong path. We will not allow inefficiency to eat out our savings. No. The government is going to be frugal. The government is going to ensure that every single dollar of taxpayers' resources is used in a way that enhances Jamaica's development. And I give you that commitment. Ultimately, that is called good governance. Labor rights, ladies and gentlemen, Jamaicans. I stand here in this moment in time, not by virtue of anything special that I have done. I stand here only because it is my belief that God has been good to me and He has blessed me. And I am grateful. And I am His servant. And I pray every day to be His instrument, to be His builder, to build the destiny, the vision, the promise that He has for Jamaica. With your help, with your support, with your love, we can make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, do business, raise your families, and retire in paradise. God bless you, Jamaica, land we love. Travel home safely, and I will see you again next year at our great conference. Love you.